Darkcast Network. Out of the shadows comes the best of indie podcasts.
Welcome to the J Squared Horror Podcast, where two lifelong horror fans talk all things horror. Pour yourself your favorite drink and hang out. Here are your hosts, Josh and Jake.
Hey guys, welcome to the J Squared Horror Podcast. I'm Josh.
And I'm Jake.
And on today's episode, this fan-requested episode is
1968's Rosemary's Baby, directed by Roman Polanski.
Big shout out to
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson and CII Jones for requesting this episode. Both of them requested Rosemary's Baby from 1968. Before we get into Rosemary's Baby, what would we like to let anyone new to our podcast know, Jake?
As always, like and subscribe on YouTube.
Pretty, please.
We're also available on Spotify,
We're on there.
Apple, and as far as I know, still Google.
Still Google. Spotify, right?
Yeah.
Did you say Spotify?
That's the first one I said.
Oh, shit. I didn't hear you say
Yeah.
Spotify. My bad.
Spotify,
Yeah,
Apple,
we're available on all
Google.
of those things.
also Instagram, J Squared Horror Podcast. Linktree in the bio. New episodes every Thursday.
Every single Thursday, two lifelong horror fans decide to get together and do the most original horror podcast out there. The reason we consider ourselves the most original horror podcast out there is because we bring content to horror stuff like nobody else.
Yeah, that good horror stuff.
That good horror stuff. Yeah, we like to include our fans. We like to include guests on the podcast. We like to do not your typical reviews. We like to talk about it, discuss it, include ourselves and different scenarios throughout these movies. Now, if you would like to be a part of the J Squared Horror Podcast, you can go to www.jsquaredhorrorpodcast.com. There you can request to put an episode, or not request to put an episode. You can request an episode idea, or you can request to be on the podcast live and in person. CII Jones has done it. Ross Goodman has done it. So if you're at all interested, just let us know on the website. What I'd also like to mention is we are a part of the Darkcast Network. They are about strange, dark indie podcast. They included us in there a few months ago, and we're super stoked to be a part of that podcasting network. So if you want some more true crime or dark podcast, go check out the Darkcast Network. Give them some support. They've been supporting us for quite some time now. Now, Rosemary's Baby from 1968. When's the last time you saw it?
Today.
No, well, fucking asshole. Before that, when was the last time you saw it?
Oh, like in high school, probably.
Damn.
It's been a long time.
Long time.
What about you?
I'd never seen it before.
So it was your first time, what, yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Last night, this was my first time ever watching this movie.
And you loved it.
I did. I enjoyed it.
Good.
To an extent. How was your week? How have you been since the last episode, man? We haven't seen each other since the last episode.
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
Work. That's it. I mean, I've been working.
I feel that on a cellular
a
level.
lot lately,
Yeah.
so
Me too.
this is my first day off since the last episode, obviously. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I work today, so I'm fighting it through.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to get into this one with you. I'm excited for a fan requested episode. Rosemary's Baby is a tricky one for me. I don't know if for him. I haven't seen many movies from that era of horror. I was much into the newer stuff when I got into horror. I didn't have a parent or an interest in older horror throughout my horror fandom. Do you feel like this is one that people should stop and go watch before we get into it?
I definitely do.
Okay, well, just to let you guys know, we both had to rent it for $3.79 on Amazon Prime. So if you do not want any spoilers for Rosemary's Baby from 1968, if you're like me and haven't ever seen it before, or if you haven't seen it in a long time, like high school or older, just go check it out, man. It's a little bit long. It's a little over 2 hours. But I think for contextual purposes, context of the episode, It might help if you refreshen that mind a little bit and
I
go
would
watch
agree.
you a good
Yeah.
spooky movie. Do you? Oh shit. Do you? Do you resonate with this movie at all? Like, do you find things in this movie that either you feel like make sense to you, or you have gone through in your life, or is it kind of completely out of it, but you can respect it for what it is? Where do you lie with Rosemary's Baby? Because it's a kind of in its own little atmosphere of movies for me. I haven't seen many like this that's super specific to one particular storyline that you're not sure what's going on, but you're kind of getting the gist throughout the movie that it's not very complex. It is exactly what it is.
Yeah, I can't relate to any of this shit at all, but it's a good movie. That's pretty much about it. I mean, I like you said, it's not a very complex story.
It's not a complex story. It's not something. I mean, you have to watch it. Like, don't be on your phone the entire time,
because you'll miss like things.
You'll miss little nuances. But I feel like for two in their 30s-year-olds in 2023, it's a tough comparison. It's hard to insert ourselves like we normally can.
Very true. So when watching this movie, I just went with it, or went into it with the mindset, this is a movie from the late 60s.
Yeah, you have to.
So anything you may expect as far as like effects,
acting,
yeah, all to me, it visually, it looks good.
Yes.
I think it looks good. It's shot very well.
Cinematography wise, it is a very well done movie. And I feel like it's one of those ones that is like well renowned in the horror world. It's one that most like true, long time, older, or more classic horror fans are going to know, appreciate, and love. And I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying that certain horror fans might not enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, it's not my typical type of horror movie.
There you go. Yeah, it's not
by any means.
It's not something I would go out of my way to watch again personally. Now, I'm not trying to misconstrue you or lead you astray from a movie that you could potentially like, because we all have different tastes and different styles of what kind of horror we consume or we enjoy for what it is. If you can go into it knowing that it's from 1968, it's about the 1968s. I'm pretty sure it's like it came out and was like, I'm pretty sure he says it in the movie, like what time frame this is, because like the stuff they're buying and like the way their lives are. It is culturally shocking.
Yeah,
it is culturally shocking.
It's tough to be a woman in the 60s.
Yeah, I would say there's a combination of things in this movie where, let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. There's a little bit of essay in this, and if you know what that means, you know to steer clear of this movie. There is a good scene that's very uncomfortable for some people that might be uncomfortable with certain things. So if that's something you're weary about or you do not want to watch, that is fine. We try our best here on the podcast not to go too much into that aspect of the things that happen in these movies. So we're not going to focus a lot on that part, but it is a part of this movie. So if that makes you uncomfortable or you don't like it, just don't even continue with this movie. It is not something that you will enjoy. But it is called Rosemary's Baby, and you know how babies are created, and you know that this is a horror movie. So there you go.
So I guess my question to you would be, so
Yes,
you know going into it,
yeah,
what's going to happen potentially.
You can pretty much gather it.
Yeah. So when it gets to a point to where you know the baby's being conceived by the devil.
The devil, yeah.
At that point, knowing that fairly early on.
Yeah, very much so.
And the reason behind it happening, were you still able to enjoy the rest of the movie? You're like, all right, let's just wrap it up.
I feel like they did, and I feel like this is a difference between classic cinema and modern cinema.
Okay.
Meaning, I feel like they almost felt like they had to do as much as they possibly could, maybe to keep people intrigued. Maybe they were more story-driven, plot-driven back in those days. I feel like this movie could have come in around an hour 30, an hour 40, and you would have gotten the exact same feel. I feel like that there are certain parts where you just feel like you're watching a reality show about a couple that are dealing with different things. And like, yeah, some crazy stuff happens and some really effed up stuff happens. But I didn't need as much of the day-to-day stuff as they gave us. It didn't make me fall in love with the characters or hate the characters more or less, for me personally. Yeah. So I feel like they could have quickened that part up a little bit and gotten to the climactic part a good chunk earlier.
I agree.
That's it. That
movie's a little long.
That's what I hate the most about the movie. I mean, there's obviously little nuances about the movie, being that I'm watching it in 2023 for the first time.
Yeah.
But if I take myself out of that, I realize, like, if you check out some of these older films, I mean, I think the oldest one that we'd covered before this was what? What would you say our oldest movie to date that we covered was? Did we cover Night of the Living Dead, the original? Because that's in like the 50s.
I think that's
58, wasn't it?
I thought it was 68 too.
68. It might have been 68.
Did we cover that one?
I can't remember if we covered it or we just talk about it a lot.
We covered Return. We covered the remake.
Yeah, we covered the remake. We never covered the original.
Yeah.
Shit.
See, I don't know.
So I got oldest before this was
Halloween.
Yeah, 78.
78. Yeah. That's as far as we go.
Crazy, dude. Yeah, I draw the line at the 80s, bro. No, I mean, it was fan requested, so it pushes us out of our comfort zones, which is what we want. We want to watch things that we don't always watch, and we want to be able to bring relatable and enjoyable content on it. But a movie like this is tricky because we're both males. We're both, you know, he has a kid, but she's growner.
Yeah.
She's more grown.
Yeah.
And he didn't have to carry the kid.
Yeah.
And he also wasn't taken advantage of by the devil.
Yeah.
So there's tricky parts to like relating to it for me. Personally, there's nothing in this movie that scares me because I don't foresee myself in this situation. Now, with that being said, if we were in this movie as who we are currently, meaning we have a podcast, right? We would like to see the podcast succeed. We would like to be famous and popular, and we want all eyes on us. I mean, kind of hence the podcast here, guys.
Yeah.
If you were presented a similar deal, do you take it or leave it? Because ultimately, that's why this entire thing happens.
Yeah.
Because he is promised rewards for his acting career, and he can have curses happen to people that he needs them to happen to if he provides what he was willing to provide. Being that you are an up-and-coming podcaster, we are still very young in this. How do you feel if that opportunity presented itself?
I wouldn't do it. Yeah.
Very nice of you.
Yeah. I feel like for two reasons. One, we're still early enough on.
Yeah, we can ride a wave.
We can still work it out.
We can ride a wave. Yeah.
Two, I don't think I could put someone I love through that.
Thank you.
All the psychological shit you got to go through. And also, they did a very sloppy job.
Horrible.
Hiding it. Like she takes the breast milk. We need this for to throw it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'll just not give it to you then.
Look, dude.
What about you?
Look, dude. I want to be a smash success.
I know.
I want to be huge. If anybody knows me, I've been called vain. I'm known as the host of the J Squared Horror Podcast. But guess what? I've done that myself. I've done that with my personality and my ability to do what I do. When I do certain things, it's because of who I am as a person. It's because of the skill sets that I have acquired over years of learning and growing. Whether that be sales jobs, whether that be friendships with you or friendships with other people, I have grown and became who I am as a person because of those situations. I feel like if I loved my fucking wife with an ounce of respect and love, regardless of the time period, I put myself in the 60s.
Yeah.
I'll put myself in a world where, This isn't me, guys. This is not what I like. This is not what I see.
Oh boy.
But women were second to men in this era of time. Men made the money, they made the decisions, and the wives were known as recessive and very complacent in like following their husband's rules and guidelines. That's fucking lame to me. That's not what I want in a relationship. That is not what I would ask for in a relationship. But even if I was in the 60s, I cannot fucking fathom doing that to my loved one. Be it my wife, somebody that I have chosen to be with me for life, someone that I want to have a child with.
Yeah.
I want to grow they love each other.
They do.
To an extent.
Well, it's crazy. You can see they love each other, though.
He loves her, but gets a little distracted by success. She loves him deeply. Once again, kind of plays into what I just said. The quick answer to this long answer that I'm giving you is fuck no.
Okay.
I would not do that, whether I was in the 60s or currently, because I feel like that's a cop-out, and I feel like I still, deep down inside, even if I got everything I wanted, I would, even if I didn't get caught, like, he unfortunately gets caught, even if my wife was dumber than her, and I somehow pulled this off, meaning there are a plethora of ways you can go about this to where you could have won this situation, but you're dumb.
There's one way he 100% would have got away with it.
All right, well, how do you feel like he could have gotten away with it?
If they didn't live right next door.
Thank you.
That's the only way.
Thank you. They
if
are
they lived on a different floor.
They are the B to your unit A, dude. Like, what?
Literally one door attaches you.
There's a hole in your closet that leads into their apartment. What? So my question is the reason that they had the other girl killed is because she wouldn't. So we meet this very lovable, nice, healing character in the beginning of this movie that lived with the older couple. Did she turn it down? Was she not willing to have that situation happen to her because she didn't have a husband that was willing to give her up?
So I feel like
is that dynamic wasn't talked about enough.
No, I feel like she wore the same little.
She wore the devil's lettuce
that you find out has a certain scent to it.
Yeah, it stinks, smells like ass.
Yeah.
And everybody's gonna tell you that it smells like ass, and you're like, it's my good luck charm. Fuck no, it stinks, dude.
So I feel like she was aware of what's going on, has helped them before.
Yeah,
to try to do this.
Yeah,
she met her downstairs and was like, "I'm not doing it this time."
So you think it was the meeting of the girl that opened her eyes into her not wanting to...
Yeah, like, this lady's so innocent. And they probably... She probably knew because she asked about her husband super quick, what does he do? Probably took that the information back to the older people. He's an actor. Someone I've never heard of, obviously. There's your end.
So you think... Oh, shit. I was looking at this completely wrong.
I feel like she was an accomplice to an extent. She
was an accomplice because they wanted her to befriend her because it made more sense in age.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck! I thought that she was supposed to carry the devil's baby this entire time.
I mean, that could be true, too.
I mean, but your theory's way more sound with what we get in the movie. She meets this lady. They're like, hey, we got a young couple that just moved in. I need you to befriend them. I need you to get close to them. And I need you to get them here so we can convince the actor husband of his potential success.
Yeah.
I looked at it as they saw the young couple, the older couple saw the young couple and was like, we don't need this bit no more. She ain't carrying the devil's baby. We're going to yeet her ass out a window.
That could be it too.
Damn.
Let
us know if you guys have seen this movie. Let us know if we're not like disagreeing, but let us know which way you think that would have gone. Would it have been that they no longer needed the younger girl in their house because they found the young couple, or do you think that the girl was used to then fish or attract the younger couple?
Because I thought of it as that either she served her purpose, so other old people threw her out the window, or she was like, I'm not doing it anymore, and she threw herself out.
Threw herself out the window, yeah. I mean, I was shit, we both saw it differently. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, no shock there that we saw things differently in a movie from the 60s.
This movie, it's very interesting just from watching it. I get the thought of, like you mentioned, being a woman in the 60s.
Yeah.
And you can see how her husband treats her, how the doctors treat her.
Yeah, she's like not allowed to have a fucking voice, dude.
Yeah, can't have a voice, have a thought. She can't read books if she wants to. With the fucking house.
Dude. And then you get the part where like she invites her own friends over. They give her sound fucking advice.
He's like,
and they're like,
fuck them
no,
bitches.
Fuck them bitches. Literally.
Yeah.
Fuck them bitches.
Yeah.
It's exactly what he says. And you're just sitting there in 2023 looking at this movie like, my God, how has this not been deleted off of all forms of releasing? You know, it's like, of course, different times, different eras, different rules. Not that that's acceptable. I'm not giving it an excuse to be acceptable, guys. I'm just saying the movie is what it is, and it is a different era of how women are portrayed in society.
Yeah.
And I feel like that has become more of a thing than they intended.
What do you mean?
Like, do you think they intended this movie to be a chance for women empowerment, or like women to realize the shitty situations that they're in? Or do you think that over time it has gained that because of how society's grown as a whole?
I would like to think society's grown as a whole, because if this movie was trying to do that, it doesn't, because nothing gets accomplished. Even when she has the upper hand, finds out what he's doing, tries to fight back, she still in the end is talked into being the mom anyway.
Yeah. Shit, you're right. This movie was not intended.
Yeah. So the role she was supposed to play, she ends up playing anyway.
Yeah. As much as she did such a good job trying to fight it. As little hope as she had. And it's like, I mean,
but then I don't know what her end game was anyway.
I don't either. And I don't think she did. I just think that she wanted her kid to be okay.
Yeah, because once you find out,
I feel like part of it is it like, should you accept your ugly ass kid for your ugly ass kid? Like, was that the deeper meaning? Like, like you have this glowing eyed child that you don't want. No, it's because she was taken advantage of by Satan himself.
I loved they didn't show the baby though.
I hated it.
I love that.
I hated it. I wanted some decrepit ass monster.
I like them showing the hands of Satan and his face and eyes, and that's it.
Ugh, that was gross. It looked like a fucking horse, dude.
Yeah, but man, seeing a baby like that,
I'd be more okay with seeing the baby like that at the end than to see the dude doing
a literal
what he did.
Pile of fucking garbage, just
laying
there.
The pile of garbage hopped on top of an innocent woman. So it's like,
but imagine that and like 2 feet long.
Yeah, but I'm saying contextually, I would rather have seen that at the end than that in the situation of when we saw it.
It would have looked like shit anyway.
It would have, but we're talking about the SA scene here, so it's like, gotta fucking skate nicely here.
So that was weird too. So I guess in that scene, first of all, the visual,
dude. What's crazy is like, I don't know what kind of portrayal drugs did back then. Because, like, we see movies now. I mean, we've had, like, Cheech and Chong. We've had funny, like, weed movies. We've had, like, tripping balls movies. And, like, a lot of people have partaken in different hallucinogens and different drugs. I'm not one of them. As you know from an episode prior where I said, does that sound like a good weed? Like, I'm not very hip to the drugs thing. But she clearly got drugged because she tasted a chalky substance in a mousse that she had. And then she goes on this. She had some pretty vivid dreams, which is crazy to me that like nobody necessarily knew that. Maybe the husband did.
I couldn't tell if she was awake or dreaming.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if she was awake or dreaming or not, which I think kind of safely skates that scene. But then you get the part where she's like, oh shit, this is not a dream. This is real life. But then again, it could still be a dream. So like it could still be portrayed as it didn't happen until you find out that it did, which is when she had the kid and you realize that it's the son of Satan. But my thing is, and throughout this whole movie, right, you have this woman who is pregnant. And I know how pregnant women look, and I know how pregnant women grow over time. This movie did a piss poor job because for like the first 3 trimesters of this pregnancy, she just looks like a zombie. And I thought throughout this entire movie process, and I don't know if I'm confusing it with another one or like my brain was just going super vivid myself, but she is super thin. And they comment on it. He's like, you shouldn't be losing weight when you have a child. And she's like, no, the doctor said this could be part of it. And you're like, okay, he's the best doctor around. Maybe he knows some shit that I don't know. And granted, I'm not a baby doctor or a pregnant woman doctor. But she cuts all her hair off. She looks like a zombie. She's pale as fuck. She looks bad. So this entire time I'm watching this movie, my thought process is I saw some clearly beast-like creature doing some stuff. I thought that this beast-like thing that was inside of her was consuming her. So it's I know babies eat what you eat, but they don't like eat you. But I thought throughout the movie, the demon or the son of Satan was killing her this entire pregnancy. So I thought that this was going to end with her almost like skeleton-like and then just like fat from a baby and then like and then dying. Like I didn't think it was like, because I hadn't seen it before.
Yeah.
So I knew it had something to do with a fucking baby because it's called Rosemary's Baby.
In the title.
But throughout the movie, it's leading you up to that. Like, you're literally thinking, like, she's refusing certain things. She's fighting certain things. So, like, her ultimate demise is that this monster consumed her. And that's what killed her. And then she has the baby. And then the husband has to live with the fact that, like, nothing you wanted actually happened.
Oh.
Like, I thought it was going to take it from him, like, immediately.
It was a trap,
because he thought that he could still have, because even when she has the baby and they're like, nah, it was a miscarriage, like he passed away, and she's like sad but like almost like cool with it, like she didn't take that as bad as I thought.
Right,
she was like, damn, that kind of sucked.
I'm young,
but you're right, we could have another kid.
Yeah.
So I thought, like, I wanted the husband to lose so much more than he did. And it really just, it really it's unsettling for me that he really gets away with everything that he did to become a fucking C-list actor.
So I think,
like, that's insane to me.
So when she first becomes pregnant,
yeah,
I thought it was weird that she wasn't gaining weight. They told her it's normal. I thought
it was just budget.
You know, it's a Satan baby. It's not a human baby.
It is a Satan baby.
It may affect her body differently.
Yeah.
Differently. So I feel like her, with the whole haircut thing too, I thought about...
Dude, I'm telling you, she got a haircut as an actress and they're like, fuck!
I took it as she was in a point in her life where things were starting to get out of control.
Yeah.
Something I can control is what I look like.
Oh, shit.
So she,
okay,
boom,
yeah.
cuts her hair off.
Yeah. Like, this is how I want to look.
Yeah.
It's cool in, like, France or something. Yeah.
And everyone hates it.
Because this couple is very societally driven. Like, they got the nicer furniture, they got the prettier walls, they got the prettier this. You know, it's an actor and his wife. So they're going to come across as this bougie, rich.
She's rocking that old lady haircut.
Yeah.
I got to spice it up.
Yeah, she's got the Voorhees, the Mama Voorhees cut.
So she cuts her hair. She's starting to notice some things aren't right. So she's talking to people. She's reading things.
Yeah.
You see her growth as a woman. And everyone around her just fucking shutting that shit down.
Yeah. They are shutting it down left and right.
Yeah. And it kind of sucks, like I mentioned before, in that aspect, for her to fight so hard, then at the very end, just give in, just do it anyway. Now, either that could be just her motherly instincts.
Yeah. Are we going to take it as motherly instincts or
could it be her just, I don't want to say being weak and giving up, but
that's how she's been portrayed this entire movie. And it's like
she'll fight back to an extent.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, because of the time period it came out, what else do you expect? As fucked up as that sounds, man, it's like, it's also like, it's eye-opening to be able to watch it in 2023. To be a matured person, to be in a more matured, respecting society, to an extent. I know there's a lot of fucked up shit that still goes on out there, ladies. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. But if you watch this fucking movie, you realize how bad shit was. And it was just normal society. It's an interesting context of how you can consume this movie and the ending you get and what and how you take it.
It makes me think about women portrayal in horror movies because you're a decade prior to the final
girl, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're seeing them
you
portrayed
see the
totally
progress.
different. It's like they're getting there, but not yet.
Yeah, not even, fuck you. You ain't
Yeah.
getting that
Yeah.
because it wasn't a thing. I'm not saying there weren't strong, independent women out there in the 60s. That's not what I'm saying. But clearly this movie tells me one thing, and that had to have been some form of a norm.
Yeah.
I can't speak on it, bro. I was born in 1991. I can't speak on behalf of what they were doing and how they were living. How I can speak on it is what I watch and what I witness in the stories that I hear. And because of the progress of women and the independence that women have grown and gained over the years, it's safe to say it was super fucked up for them in the 60s.
Yeah.
And it sucks, man, because, like, you know, I think my mom was born 69.
Mm-hmm.
So she was born a year after this fucking movie came out, bro. Like, damn, dude. Good job, Cindy. You missed it by the skinny old thief.
Yeah.
And, like, my grandma, love her. She's amazing. But I can sometimes kind of see tendencies.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my granddad's not a dick. And he's a very loving man.
Yeah.
He's there for her left and right.
Yeah.
I've noticed in arguments and stuff sometimes she becomes very recessive. And I don't know if it's because of her upbringing. I know that my great-great-grandfather was a piece of shit. So, like, I can see that she might have seen that being a 49er. My grandma was born in 49. So, like, you know, I can definitely, I just honestly feel like that might be how it was, is all I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah. And it sucks.
So they remade this movie
They did.
in the
Do you know what year?
20 teens, I think.
Okay. Have you seen it?
Have not seen
I have not seen it either.
I am curious
Yeah. How do you portray
as to
that?
how she's portrayed in that
Yeah. How do you
movie.
portray it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And if anybody knows, feel free to comment down below. Let us know how that one was perceived, or how that
'cause
one.
There's no way it end the same.
You really can't.
You have to change.
not in the 2010. I'm just gonna check.
Yeah, and then not even just because times have changed, you have to change the ending, but
Yeah.
as time change,
Yeah.
movies change, society changes. So you're basing that movie off of 60s society.
Yeah.
So doing it more currently, I don't feel like the reactions would be the same.
Yeah.
Or the woman would be portrayed the same way.
I agree.
'Cause it wouldn't make sense then.
2000. Oh wait, was it a TV series?
Yeah, TV series with
2014.
Yeah, with what's her name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next. Oh, Zoe Saldana.
Zoe
Zoe
Saldana?
Saldana.
I always want to say Zoe Deschanel.
Yeah, Zoe Deschanel's she's a queen in her right. But Zoe Saldana is the most successful female actress of all time, being that she has been in the most billion-dollar franchises than anyone else. Because she's portrayed in multiple different comic book movie franchises.
Well, good for her.
She is, yeah. I also love her in Columbia.
That's a good movie.
It's a great fucking movie.
That's a good fucking movie.
I'm watching a show with her right now, which is crazy. It's called like Lioness or something, and she's so fucking badass in it, dude. So I would be intrigued by the remake and how they ended it. I think you're right, and it's like if they did the same thing, it's like fuck you. That's not at all proper.
That's,
2014.
Yeah, it's not accurate.
It's not accurate at all.
Because horror movie, like we saw before, someone mentioned.
I was just about to. It took my thought, but go with it, bro.
I mean, it's about the times.
What the thing is
It
it's
speaks
like,
about different things that are going on at that time period
Yes.
in that era.
Yes, and I think that zombie movies have always been notoriously done it the best.
Yeah.
Because it can include that in a post-apocalyptic or apocalyptic setting. But I feel like if like horror is the branch between societal issues and the modern world, because I mean, it took until Jordan Peele to get a certain side of it.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit, and everybody loves it, and the people that don't, you're like,
Yeah, there are things that were portrayed in undertones in movies,
Yes.
which are like, this is what it is.
yes,
Deal
yes,
with it.
Yes.
So-
And I mean, it's crazy because if you look at Night of the Living Dead, the original, there's an undertone in that movie that supposedly George A. Romero swears was not the point, but it's pretty fucking clear that.
I mean, well, which could be true. You may have written a character without a race in mind.
Yeah, but then you had an ending in mind, and then you put
and that just so happened to coincide.
You put an actor in there of a different color,
yeah.
and it takes that context to a whole other meaning.
Yeah, that's true.
But horror does a very good job of putting a lot of uncomfortable situations to a light. And that is honestly why I love horror a lot.
Yeah.
Because it does it so well.
This time around, I actually watched and enjoyed this movie for what it was. Because previously I've seen it, like I said, in high school. The only thing I really remembered from it was when she finds the baby, her freaking out, and the fact that Roman Polanski directed the movie. His wife was Sharon Tate, killed by the Manson family.
Oh, shit.
And that's all I really remember. But watching it now, I see from a different point of view.
Damn, that's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did you knew some. I don't think you did research. You're just fucking smart.
Yeah. So that I knew from.
Yeah, that's
knowing,
smart. Yeah.
Knowing who he is.
That's crazy. Yeah, they talk about him and Roman Polanski in the newest Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck, dude. I'm such an... And they literally talk about Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm such a fucking
They're
idiot.
sitting in the car, and he's sitting in his car, and him and Sharon Tate. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck, that's crazy. The amount of movies we've talked about during this episode has been impressive. It seems like we actually watch movies. Other than Satan and Devil Baby, what do you think what do you think makes this a horror film? There are 0 jump scares. There are 0 actual monsters, ghosts, or demons. Why do you think this is so renowned in the horror community?
So I think it's the suspense aspect. I mean, you have to include the devil aspect.
You do.
It's the
you
main.
You do have to. But I'm saying,
yeah.
like, is there anything else that you think? Like, is there anything else that he did in this movie that creates a horror-esque film? Or do you feel like it grasps onto those smaller details and it just gets included?
For the most part, it grasps onto the small details is included. So besides the devil aspect, just that constant
wondering
idea of who can I really trust?
Yeah.
When she
it does
to,
create that.
Goes to
very
Dr.
well.
Hill and he fucking calls the other doctor.
I did not see that coming. Dude.
I didn't either.
All right. Yeah.
Although I did at the very last second when he closed the door. He looks at her like.
When he gives him that second look, when he gives her that second look, I agree. But I really thought, like, okay, we finally have a redeemable character in this movie. Because something that we've talked about before is redeemable
male
characters, male characters, female characters. Like, there's obviously some good characters in this movie. There is a male character that we love. He unfortunately dies. I can't think of his name.
Hutch.
Hutch
who was onto it from the fucking jump.
Hutch is a fucking goat, dude. Hutch is a real one, all right? Hutch is a great guy, and he gets killed because of it. Also, the female friends that are like, sweetie, no. Yeah. And it's cool to see that dynamic was still a thing where it's like, you know, your friends have your back.
Yeah, you got your friend.
They're gonna give you you may have alienated yourself completely for months, if not years, from your best friends. Your best friends are going to be there for you. And I like that is still shown, as much as she is unfortunately not really allowed to have her group of friends.
Nope.
Because he calls them bitches.
Which is also very unexpected.
Yeah. I mean, this movie does a very good job. Other than the SA stuff and some of the other stuff, it's really not that brutal of a movie at all.
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie. And it's done very professionally and more culty and more witchy than anything. And I think that...
Oh, yeah, that too, witches, yeah.
Yeah, you got witches. Witches is actually the main... You know, I guess witches and demonicness go hand in hand, depending on where you look at it. But a lot of times it's black magic. It's darker magic, which is derived from Satanism, which I get. But this movie does a good job of it not being like the green big nose witches, you know, and it's people.
Bunch of old folks.
It's fucked up people that have created a coven that they need and want what they want. And Hutch does a good job of providing the perfect media for that to be figured out, because he not only brings a book that explains what's going on, but who's doing it. And it's
After meeting
crazy.
dude one time.
Well, meeting the dude one time, he got enough.
His eyes and his face, I guess he remembered.
He remembered. He's seen him before. And obviously this Hutch character is a very smart and educated man.
I think he was a writer, right?
He was a writer, yeah. Which you're usually very versed in different things.
Yeah.
As we know from C.I. Jones, I mean, we got to learn stuff. I mean, the different types of stories he had written before.
Yeah, that's true.
And now being into horror, what he does to get into his books, it's insane what these writers do, man.
Keep your writers close to you.
Keep your writers close, man. They bring a whole different side to what you're interested in, and they're very educated and smart people for the most part. And a lot of people go Stephen King and stuff like that, which obviously he's probably very smart, and I would love to have a conversation with him, don't get me wrong. But I got C.I. Jones as my local author that I can talk to, and he also was requested this movie, so hopefully we're doing this justice for you, bub. But there's also, you know, it's crazy because the Scrabble scene, you know, it's like he says it's a what? I can never fucking remember the what it called.
Anagram,
which is like if you move the letters, it's a different name, right?
Yeah.
And she figures out after some trial and error,
a lot of error,
as you guys will hopefully see in the title of this episode, if that's what I decide to do. But there are parts of this movie, like I said, wasted time, where it's like, I don't have to see this chick play Scrabble for 5 minutes, dude. Like I wish it would have just been she grabbed the Scrabble board and did it. You know, it's like,
yeah, just figure it out.
Damn, dude. But it also shows the thought process through being this scared and trying to figure everything out, which I respect. I love that. I'm just not used to 2-hour-long horror films anymore, dude. I'm not. I think The Shining is up there. It's a longer one. Dr. Sleep was a longer one.
Yeah. I
know we have a couple that probably cracked the 2-hour mark, but, you know, as much as I want like a fucking Halloween 2-hour movie, after spending 2 hours and like 6 minutes on this one, I realize that there's a lot of wasted time in this movie.
I mean, I think I said it before. An hour and a half is all you need.
I'd say pushing an hour 50 would be like max. And that's like crazy. But an hour and a half to an hour 45.
Hour 50 miles to 2 hours.
No. Hour and a half, hour 45 is perfect. Hour 50 is a little longer. 2 hours, fuck you. Like that's too much.
2 hours too long.
And the thing is like you got these Marvel movies that got all these fucking bright colors and different, like 7 different plot lines that can go on for 2.5 hours.
That's like action packed.
Whatever, dude. Like that's not what a good movie is. But I respect what they did. I do not hate this movie. It's tricky because if you asked me, is it a good movie? I have to say yes. But is it something I will rewatch a bunch of times? Definitely no.
So there are good movies that I enjoy that I don't rewatch.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with watching a movie,
they're good for
appreciating it for what it is.
I'd watch it again.
And then if somebody wants to watch it with you, cool. And then you can talk about it. Like we're kind of forcing you guys to do right now if you haven't seen it in a long time, which is fine because we're opening up a line of communication on this movie. Now, is there anything that we are missing or that you thought of during the last day that you want to include in this episode?
Just how I mentioned before, how William Castle had a cameo in the movie. I'm a big William Castle
Nobody
fan.
heard that, so just say it like it's never been heard.
Oh, well, I said it to you, but
I don't remember.
To you guys, William Castle, who was a director.
Yes, very popular horror
in that
director.
time period,
Yes.
you know, for like gimmicks and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
13 Ghosts, House on Haunted Hill, stuff like that. Has a cameo in the movie. He's a guy standing outside of the phone booth who you think is one of the old people. Who's like
I thought it was the dude, the main old guy, yeah.
But you see, nope, just William Castle and his cigar. So he's an executive producer for this movie.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The fact that he partnered up with that the director.
Yeah. And like unrelated, but kind of like Castle Films, production company, they like redid 13 Ghosts.
Yeah.
All of his like older movies. That's pretty cool too.
Yeah, that is really cool.
That's it.
Because we never covered the original House on Haunted Hill, but we covered the
1990s version.
1990s version.
100-something views though.
Clearly we do not dip this deep into horror, but it's not something that I'm against because honestly, this episode has flowed extremely well.
Better than I thought it would.
In comparison to what I thought when I watched it last night. That's why we try to shut the fuck up when we're together before the episodes and not talk about it too much. I think I got out all my points. I really feel like I covered my bases on this movie. I appreciate you throwing in the castle information. I'm happy that the fans got to hear that, not just me.
I'm glad the fans know.
So that leads us up to the rating.
The what?
Rating?
Okay, ratings. Yeah.
Yeah, I almost said another word. I didn't.
What were we gonna say?
I almost said it. But on a scale from 1 to 10, Mr. Divine, where do you rank Rosemary's Baby?
On a scale from 1 to 10, I rated 8.5.
Damn, an 8.5.
Yeah, I really enjoy the movie. Yeah,
that's high. That's really high. That's up there. That's up there in the rankings. Ooh, all right.
What about you?
On a scale from 1 to 10.
Okay.
I rank this movie a 7.
Okay.
I rank it a 7.
Okay.
You can't not respect this movie for what it is. I feel like it belongs and it needs to be respected in the history of horror. It did some things that make you super uncomfortable, but also, like we mentioned on the episode, it pushes societal issues to a front, and that should be respected and renowned in horror because it's something that horror has done since it has existed. So for them to do it the way they did and not cross too many lines, big thumbs up from us. As you heard on last week's episode, if you get higher than a 5 here on the J Squared Horror Podcast, you should give yourself a pat on the motherfucking back because we respect the shit out of what you did. So to our fans that requested this episode, thank you so very much. It pushed me completely out of my comfort zone of horror. Jake had seen it before, but I feel like it can help to talk about a movie like this.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
On the podcast for our fans to see and for our fans to appreciate. So thank you again. If you have any ideas, do not hesitate to hit us up on any social media platform. But if you go to the website, www.jsquaredhorrorpodcast.com, and you request an episode as you heard here, this week we will cover it. Now, with that being said, next week, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be covering Thanksgiving.
Woo!
Eli Roth's newest addition to horror. It is a holiday horror themed movie that we know nothing about. I have seen 0 full trailers on this movie.
Yeah.
I have been steering very clear away from the ruining of trailers because, as you guys know, as fans of the podcast, they fuck them up all the time. They show way too much.
Yeah.
So,
I'm excited outside of Cabin Fever, I don't really fuck with
I don't fuck with Eli Roth at all, other than
yeah.
Cabin Fever.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see. Hopefully, he redeems himself with the podcast guys.
And why he's on the history of horror? No idea.
You guys will for sure know next week. Next Thursday, we will release an episode on it. We're going to see it on Thursday night, so we give ourselves a nice little time to think about it, go over it in our heads, do an episode. And I'm super excited to talk about a new movie. Hopefully you guys can go out.
Is it coming out, our episode, on Thanksgiving?
No. Wait.
Is it? I think it is.
Did we do that?
I just thought about that.
Why did I open my alarm?
No idea.
When's Thanksgiving?
Next
23rd?
Thursday. Yeah.
Holy shit,
we are.
dude. We are releasing Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being a part of the J Squared Horror Podcast. I know none of you guys asked for it, but we're doing it anyway.
You're welcome.
We are super excited. We've been talking about seeing this movie since we saw the little snippet of a preview that we did see, and that we heard that Eli Roth was coming out with a holiday-specific horror movie. Like Jake said, we have no clue why he is so respected in the horror community.
No idea.
But at the end of the day, he's a director. He's done multiple movies. He's been a part of multiple movies. He's pushed the envelope with movies like Hostel. And we're excited because supposedly, through what I've seen on TikTok, it's one of those people are vomiting, people are passing out. It barely got approved to be released in theaters. As you guys, if any of you guys know, Terrifier, which is slated to be coming out in 2024, October 25th of 2024, is getting a lot of fucking heat. And it might not be theatrically released because of its potential beyond R rating. The opening scene a lot. I've already seen snippets of it. Looks insane. I'm super excited to cover that next year, but that's neither here nor there. Thanksgiving next week. We're super excited. As always, a massive shout out to our main supporters, Jeff Balance, who does our design work. Anything J Squared Horror related you see behind us on our bodies, on any of our business cards, on anything that we wear or rock is done by Jeff Balance himself. The intro and the outro music, as you guys hear all the time. Oh shit, it's playing right now. That is Mr. Lucky Riggs himself. He is a great friend of ours. He's a great supporter of the podcast. Thank you so very much for doing amazing stuff for us. We appreciate it greatly.
Yeah,
a humongous shout out to Mr. Jake himself for being the world's greatest co-host a guy could ask for.
Thank you.
He has pushed me in my horror fandom. He has pushed me in my podcasting abilities. Thank you so much for being a part of this podcast, brother. I appreciate you so much. And as always, a huge shout out to every single one of the J Squared Horror Podcast fans out there. We hit over 10,000 views across our YouTube platform, which is insanity. Yeah. We couldn't do that without every single one of you guys that tune in every single week. So if you are a regular fan, please like, comment down below on this video. It would be greatly appreciated. We want to know that you guys heard our thank yous for supporting the J Squared Horror Podcast. To all of our listeners out there, don't think we forgot about you. We're creeping on 2.3 thousand listens. That's insane. I know that listening platforms are a little trickier to get into.
They are.
We appreciate you guys so much. So to every single one of our fans, the J Squared Horror Podcast would like to take a second here right now to thank each and every one of you.
Thank you very much.
This is the J Squared Horror Podcast. My name's Josh.
And I'm Jake.
You guys have a great week. And remember, it's hip to be squared.